Hello, I'm Wayne Visser and I'm Director of CSR International, and I'm here today in the Ukraine with Dr Liakh, who's the Executive Director of East Europe Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Could you start by giving us your impression of CSR in the Ukraine? And I know that you've just done some research on this, so perhaps you can back it up with some figures.
Let me say a few intro words. Concept of corporate social responsibility is quite new for Ukraine. In international understanding of CSR, it has about 5 years. Then international business coming to Ukrainian market brought us some best practices on organizing business, and this was quite new for many companies in Ukraine. Saying comparatively new, I need to say that it is not a newest or completely new concept, because during Soviet time it was quite general practice that big state corporations, big state plants or fabrics, they've been taking additional social care for communities they work in, for families of workers or employees who've been working in the factories. And it's quite clear that, let's say, some elements of corporate social responsibility we had in Ukraine in the Soviet past. But at the same time, that concept was, as a principle, let's say, or concept as a philosophy based for activity of business was new. Since that, many Ukrainian corporations, bigger Ukrainian corporations, they introduced CSR as a practice, as a day-to-day operations in their companies. At the same time, I need to say that at the moment, kind of distribution of CSR concept among small and medium enterprises is quite weak. For many years, CSR to be considered as a kind of cream of the top of the cookie, and to be affordable only by rich corporations. After economic crisis, again the concept was reviewed, and in the research we've done just recently in April 2010, we asked 40 Ukrainian corporations and companies about their opinion about how crisis influence to their CSR. And I need to say that for most of CSR, for most of the companies, CSR is still business practice introduced into day-to-day operations. Many organizations, for sure, many companies changed their approaches in implementation of corporate social responsibility programs. For more than 25% of them faced reduction of allocations for CSR programs. At the same time, from the data we received, we can say that 68% of companies, they recognized increased attention or increased participation of their employees in corporate social responsibility projects of their companies.
Okay, and how does the Ukrainian experience compare to the wider, if you like, Russian-speaking world or the CIS countries? Because I know you work beyond Ukraine also.
Yeah, we do work in Moldova, Belarus and Russia, and compared to other Russian-speaking, let's say, countries, I can say that first, Ukraine goes its own way, having its own kind of very specific features. First of all, I need to say that we have less big corporations like Russia, for example, does. It means that more companies of small and medium size we have in Ukraine, and in contrast, for example, to Russia, where society has extreme high expectations from big corporations about corporate social responsibility. It's almost like a state expectation from state to be kind of social patronated by bigger companies. In Ukraine we don't have a situation like this. At the same time we have kind of more involvement of civil society and more productive cooperation between different stakeholders in realization of implementation of CSR programs. As I know, in Moldova, which is our neighbor, the CSR as a concept is quite new as well. For some Moldovan corporations, CSR is already a day-to-day practice, while it's not very popular, it's not very spread out. Talking about Belarus is quite special state, but where most of businesses they have a state as a shareholder. It means that, but it doesn't mean that CSR is not important or not interested concept for them. I know that some Belarusian organizations, including non-governmental organizations and businesses, they are already interested in this, and several seminars being conducted by, let's say, international experts in order to how to present the idea, how to present more, let's say, more best practices to Belarusian companies, how to, populate the idea among companies.
Finally then, here in Ukraine, the government does seem to be taking a proactive role on CSR. They've come out with a concept discussion paper. Can you give us your opinion of that?
There are two sides of the situation. First, I would say the expectation of business, or a little bit worries of business, that if state decides to, let's say, regulate something, it will harm business, and I think this is the biggest worry. But I think that there are a number of good intentions under the decision of the state to start work to develop a national concept. It won't be a law, it won't be any regulation act regulating CSR. It will be a concept, and I'm very glad that this form of the document will satisfy both sides, state and business. I also very glad that in this process a number of international organizations, local Ukrainian experts, labor unions and other stakeholders are involved in.
Well, thanks very much for your time here today.
Thank you very much.
Okay.